So we have here a simple client, right, that's going out to a web service and retrieving an array of objects, right, from a web service that we've been working for a couple weeks. Let's now render this here on the client side. So what we could do here is perhaps say that these are the courses. Maybe courses. And maybe in parentheses, how many courses we have. There we go. And we can just maybe create a UL, right? A list of these courses. So we can say UL, maybe LI, and perhaps we can grab the first course. We can grab the first courses. It's an array, so I can grab the first course, 0, right, and grab the title, right? So we can grab. Notice that there it is, right? The first course in the array. I can grab its title, and I can grab and generate a whole bunch of these. But let's iterate over that, right? We can iterate over this, so make this a little prettier. Maybe we can say that this is a list group, and that these are class list group item. So this looks a little more presentable. There it is, right? And we can basically iterate over here. Now, the way we do it in React, we would use JavaScript, right? We would take the array, we would map over that, and generate new elements, right? Either existing component elements or native HTML and elements. Here, Angular takes a completely different approach, right? It says no JavaScript here, no JavaScript. Instead, what it does is that it tries to use ideas that are already native to HTML, right? The same types of concepts. For instance, this attribute here, class, you can think about it as configuring this div, right? Somehow binding some attribute or some property or some behavior to this div. In this particular case, the behavior is pretty static, right? Just put some pixels on the left-hand side, some pixels at the top. That's the behavior that we're configuring here. But following that same idea, it says, well, I'm going to create my own attributes with the same idea that you can configure how these things behave. You have href and you have IDs and you have all these other things, or style, that configure all sorts of behaviors for an element. Here we're going to have another attribute that is one that is declared by Angular. Angular declares these attributes, right? So they all start with ng. Right? They all start with ng. If you want to iterate over some collection, as you would expect it, it's the for, ngFor, right? It's like a for loop. And it takes as argument an expression, right? It wants to know, what are you iterating over, right? And as you iterate, you presumably always declare the local variable of the current object that as you're iterating over. Make sense? Right? So you can declare a new variable, let course, right? And it's of, not in, right? In it has a different meaning. So the syntax is of. Course is of type in the objects that are in the current variable courses. So what this is doing is saying, okay, take the courses array, right? Iterate over it, and as you iterate, declare the current object that you're iterating over named courses. So now course is a local variable that is accessible only in this loop. Make sense? All right. All right. The other thing here is that there's a whole bunch of these attributes, and they all behave slightly different. Okay. So there's kind of like a family of these attributes, and some of them add content. Some of them generate events. Some of them are looking for input that you type, all right? So depending on what they're doing, okay, oftentimes you'll see that they're prefixed with a specific character, right, depending on what it is that they're doing. In particular, ngFor is one that generates new content. Basically, what ngFor is going to do is going to take the DOM element that it's declared on, and it's going to copy and paste that li, right, for every element that it has in the array. Basically, that's what it's going to do. It's going to copy and paste. It's basically this li. It's declared on the li. It's going to copy and paste several copies of this li. Make sense? So since it's generating DOM elements, it's got an asterisk in front of it. Right? That's what asterisk means. Right? If your element is adding new DOM elements dynamically, it's got an asterisk in front of it. Make sense? And we'll introduce a couple more as we go. Right? So for instance, input fields have brackets, click events have parentheses, and those are the three ones that we care about. Brackets, parentheses, and asterisks. All right, so let's say we're introducing asterisks here. Everybody okay? Excellent. All right, so we got that course. We're going to do course.title because course is now each one of those courses as it's iterating over. Make sense? All right, so if we go back, notice that we have those three courses now, right? It iterated over those three, and I'm just grabbing the title. Everybody good? Okay? Excellent. So anyway, so here, and obviously we can render other things such as maybe the course and the ID of the course right next to it. There it is, the ID, or other attributes, other properties from the object. Everybody good? All right. So let's now take a look at, well, what about being able to perhaps select a particular course, because we like to be able to show the modules in the particular course that you're selecting. All right, so let's take a look at how you would select things here. All right, so let's take a look at that now.